Hello everyone, my name is Mirna and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today with us we have Sirena Pelarolo, PhD. She is a doctor, she is certified in holistic health coach, international author and speaker. She is a radio host and a blogger. She has 30 years of experience in self-development and she is also a health and wellness coach. Before starting with Sirena, we also want to tell you a little bit about our dear guest. His name is Alberto Tlatoa. He is a community leader, organizer, activist, and he works in redefining land usage. But also before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world. And you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment on this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, if we are live streaming, we have the active chat. It's a screen you're going to be seeing here on my side or under the video in case that you're following us from a smartphone, and through there you can interact with us. We also want you to collaborate with Mindalia with your own valuable content. And for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you are going to find the link. It says Collaborate with Mindalia. That link takes you to a form that you can fill out, and our technical team can get in contact with you. You can collaborate with Mindalia in English through Mindalia TV English, but you can also do it in Spanish through Mindalia Televisión and Portuguese through Mindalia Televisão. Visit our different channels and platforms. Follow us in our Facebook pages and Instagram accounts, because with that, you are not only helping us reach as much people in the planet as possible, but you also keep yourself updated with the amazing information that we broadcast on a daily basis. I'm not delaying this any further, and I have the very great pleasure of saying welcome to Mindalia live streaming, Dr. Sirena and Alberto. How are you?
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having Alberto, one of my favorite people in Los Angeles ever. And I'm so excited that we are doing this series of interviews with people that are doing incredible things in this country, mostly in Los Angeles, California. And let me tell you a little bit about Alberto. I've known Alberto since he was a teen, when we were activists trying to save the South Central Farm around 2005, 2006. And he's going to talk a little bit more about the South Central Farm, which was the biggest farm in Los Angeles that fed many, many families of immigrants, mostly from Mesoamerica, from Mexico and Central America and Los Angeles. And I was always very impressed by Alberto's passion, not only his passion and his being there and his commitment to save the land and for food justice, but also he was always so articulate. Can you hear me?
Yes, for a moment I stopped hearing you, but now I guess I will get. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. He was so articulate. The farmers would go to the city council to talk about their plight and ask for to defend the land. And Alberto was a teenager, and he was amazing. And he was such a compelling speaker that people were really moved. So we're so glad to have you, Alberto. And I would like you to tell us a little bit about what brought you to become a food justice activist and for being so passionate about land usage in urban areas, and also give us a little bit of the theory of what food justice is for people who don't understand, and why is it important that there's a fair distribution of land usage in urban areas.
First of all, thank you for inviting me and being part of the conversation. I think it's important that we engage in dialogue with other folks throughout the world, because this is an issue that affects everybody globally. I think food insecurity is a very important issue in urban settings. A lot of people face lack of access to healthy, nutritious food, organic food. And I think that organic food should be a basic human right, that everybody should be entitled to getting access to this type of produce, regardless of income, race, gender, all these things that I think it's important that we really start thinking also, because it's part of the bigger picture. I think that when we talk about the food movement, we sometimes forget to talk about the people who actually are part of the process of making food, the farmers who are planting, the harvesters, the trucks that transport all the goods to different cities and to different counties and to different states and other countries. So I started here in Los Angeles. My family started farming in South Central in the early 90s. We had a farming plot in South Central, which was the largest urban farm in the nation. It was a 14-acre urban farm that fed 350 families, and it gave families an opportunity to basically grow their own food. So here in my community where I live in South Central Los Angeles, there's not a lot of grocery stores, or there's not a lot of stores that cater organic produce to underserved communities. So my father, at a young age, instilled us and my siblings how to grow organic food and what was the process like. And also, he felt it was really important to create access to a lot of the greens that he grew up eating in Puebla, where he's from. And so it's a cross-generational thing as well too, because a lot of the food was not available at the grocery stores. So my dad brought seeds and he planted them, and we started growing those type of greens. They were really nutritious and beneficial for my family, and also they're not really available here. So we were creating that accessibility through farming. And so I think it's important that cities really start to addressing how do we centralize food productions in urban settings, because we're so codependent on big corporations, and we're also codependent on transportations. So, I want to make sure that everybody here in Los Angeles is able to grow their own food in whatever space they have available, whether it be a balcony, their little space backyard. You could grow serious food in your household. You just have to be really creative about how you go about it. And so creating access to land can really benefit the whole world globally, because we will also protecting the environment. That also we are in a crisis. Climate change is real. Climate change is happening at the moment, and we gotta be able to give our future generations a better planet, not make it worse for them.
Thank you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the history of the South Central Farm and what's happening right now?
Yes. So the residents of my neighborhood have been fighting environmental racism since the early 80s. So I'm going to give you a little historical background and content on what's been going on. So in the early 80s, the 14-acre property was seized through eminent domain, which is basically the city takes your property and pays you fair market value. At that time, they proposed to burn trash in their neighborhood. So they were going to do a trash incinerator. Community members organized and mobilized, and they stopped it. The land stayed vacant for a long time, up into the 1992 LA uprisings, which was basically, people stood for justice. They wanted justice, right? So Rodney King didn't get justice because he was brutally beat by 4 Anglo cops, and the riots kind of exposed a lot of problems that our community was facing, and one of them was food insecurity. So the folks here in the neighborhood, like I said, were looting grocery stores. When people loot grocery stores, that also points out that there's a lack of access. And so basically in 1992, the land was given to the community as a way to heal from the 1992 uprising, and also give them the opportunity to grow their own food. So the farm operated really, that gave birth to the movement of the South Central Farm here in South Central Los Angeles. And then officially it was administered by the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, which is a nonprofit that basically provides food for different churches, different community members. So it's a food bank, so people would come and get some produce, some canned goods. So they were the ones that were given the opportunity to basically administer this community farm in South Central. And originally, the project only allocated 7 acres for the project, but the necessity was so big that it jumped on to the other 7 acres, making a total of 14 acres, thus being the largest urban farm in the nation. And for a long time, it was operating successfully up until 2003, when we got our first letter of eviction saying this project's going to end and you guys have to leave. And we're like, wait a minute, we never got a process. They never gave our community an opportunity to raise our support or financial support through philanthropists, through different organizations who believe in the project that we were doing. And so our community was not part of the conversation. So we launched a 3-year campaign within City Hall, City Council chambers here in Los Angeles, and we advocated for this space to be safe. We got a lot of celebrities to come on board and support our efforts. So we were talking about food justice and environmental justice and urban farming before it became a trend like it is right now. At the moment, everybody's talking about school gardens. Everybody's talking about eating organic. So I would like to say that our organization was really fundamental in pushing those issues in our community since the early 90s.
So what's happening right now?
So this has been a land struggle for almost a decade already. So we've been able to stop developments from getting developed on this property. We were able to stop Forever 21, which was a company interested in developing the site for a distribution center in 2010. And then the property sold in 2011 for $18 million to another company called Pima. And this company now wants to build 4 industrial warehouses on the property. And the community has been really vocal about this issue, and they have been able to stop developments. The only reason why the land is still undeveloped, it's because community members have gone to hearings, have gone to those committee meetings, and have basically spoke up against developments. The community really wants to restore the South Central Farm, and it was a really important place for the community. And it's a lot of people ask me, well, is it still undeveloped? And like, yeah, it's undeveloped because community members have mobilized. We protested. We've done the most to really voice our concerns. And that area specifically is already heavily industrialized. So 4 industrial warehouses is only going to bring more diesel traffic to the area. On the side of Alameda, we have the Alameda Courier, which is the transit. They have all the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles pass through our neighborhood. So we're getting all those diesel emissions, and are affecting our communities in a negative manner. So we're saying that this project is going to make things worse. And right now, the city of Los Angeles is really on a economic development rampage because we'll be hosting the Olympics in 2028. So the city is really building infrastructure and capacity and developments at a rapid rate without really addressing how it's going to impact local residents who've been living there for years. And also the freeways. LA has one of the worst freeways, traffic in the world. We are stuck in traffic at least 2 hours just from our work to our homes. So we're saying that you could not put more traffic on this congested freeways and streets already. We're already up to capacity. So we really need to start thinking on how projects and challenging these developers who are not only gentrifying our neighborhoods, but also changing the historic communities of colors that have been there.
I want to ask the last question, just to give a bigger picture of what the South Central Farm was about when it was in full bloom. And I'm sure Mirna has a lot of other questions. But I would like to remind or let our audience know that the South Central Farm, when it was in full bloom, it had those 350 families really working the land and creating their own food sovereignty, because they were planting their own traditional food from their countries. But it also brought together the children and activists and artists. It was a place that it was like an autonomous place in Los Angeles, a place where people really enjoyed themselves and they were able to to really express themselves fully. And it was not like the typical South Central LA, invaded by the police and people being persecuted and all that. So the South Central Farm brought together activists from all over the city, because everybody saw there like a Shangri-La. It was like the best way of living in an urban setting. And I don't know if you would like to talk a little bit about that, Alberto.
Yeah, I think it brought a lot of folks together. And when I go to speak to different venues or different universities or different people, to different groups, I tell them we've been using food as a way to organize our communities and empower them to seek justice. So to me, everybody eats, right? So I think this is an issue that affects everybody. So when we make that connection to our food and we know where our food comes from, we are more empowered, because our food system is fucked up here in the United States and in Los Angeles and throughout the world. So much pesticides and chemicals are being put in our food that are affecting our families in a negative way, with cancer and all these illnesses that are related to our food. And I think that when we bring the consciousness of people and really start focused, redirecting that energy and letting them know that they have the power, they could control their own food productions and grow their own food. And I think that was one of the things that really attracted a lot of folks to the South Central Farm, the autonomy, that people were not dependent on the government to create access for them, that they were creating their own access through them growing, right? So instead of getting food stamps, the families in South Central were basically given opportunity to grow their own food and also teach their children that very important aspect of life, which is growing your own food. And it was very holistic for a lot of the elderly. It was a very beautiful place that once you were in there, all the noise from the around area was zoned out. And we have also a lot of the traditional food that was being prepared that it's not typically found around here. So I think it's also triggers that cultural memory of our generation and our families of what, and it's also our identity and the food that we eat.
Thank you. Wow, that's amazing. Alberto, thank you. As you know already, because we were talking earlier, I was completely unaware of that situation. I'm in the other side of the country. I have no idea about this. So I want to ask you like a couple questions from the most ignorant point of view, if I can.
Yes, go for it.
Because
And
I
the only ignorant question was the one that was never asked. That's what I also like to tell folks.
brilliant. Yes, because I think it's super important that people like me that we just don't know about it, and this is something that should be, we should be talking about it. I'm pretty sure that there are many outlets that are bringing that to people's attention, but there's many others that don't. So I would love to be, if possible, a channel for this. So what you guys describe is utopic. It sounds amazing. And the first question that comes to me is that when you say that, people, there are 150 families, and I'm going to have to apologize. There's like a thunderstorm outside.
Oh,
So maybe you're going to be hearing a loud noises. But you guys are telling that there's 14 acres of land and there's 350 families with food autonomy. They are, getting their own food, and not only for themselves, but there is also a food bank. So they are being able to feed not only themselves, but other people, which is, it's what we want, right? It's it's what's supposed to be happening. Who was not receiving a benefit out of this situation? Because the community was. So who do you think? And I think I know the answer, but I want to know, like, who was being affected by this situation?
I think our communities have been ignored for a long time when it comes to resources in our neighborhood. And like here in Los Angeles right now, real estate property is super expensive. Like 1 acre in South Central is about $3 million at the moment. That's like fair market value.
oh,
So when I think when politicians or people in elected office have all these foreign investment and also all these companies coming in and putting in millions of dollars into the neighborhood, and they're not really listening to what the community needs. So it was benefiting so many residents. And like I said, this should be a model that should be replicated across the world and across the United States, because we really are teaching a valuable concept of, working for your food and also creating a network of support and also providing resources to neighborhood. And most developments only are catering to the wealthy at the moment here in Los Angeles. They're not catering to low-income communities. So I'm saying, what's left for underserved communities? Why not give the community the power to purchase this property and put it in the neighborhood land trust, and it could be preserved as a organic urban farm in South Central, and it could bring resources to the community. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely what I kind of understand here from, all that magic that you are describing is that probably the food chains were being vulnerable, right? Like food chains, most likely, if people is producing their own food, like who's buying at whatever supermarket you have
that's
there.
right.
So that's kind of probably the hand behind what was happening or what happened.
I think what's really at stake is that people people were waking up and taking autonomy to themselves. They were not seeking dependency on local government agencies. And that's what the government agencies are supposed to protect your rights, are supposed to create all these things in your neighborhood. But when people, I think that was a little bit threatening, that people were basically not depending on the government for food, and that we're creating this autonomous community that really was magical, and it continues to inspire people. And it's been 13 years since this farm has been gone, and people are still talking about it.
So if I'm not giving you food stamps, who's going to be voting for me, right?
Pretty much, yes, yes. They're trying to create a codependency that we have been breaking, and we're saying no. We're not going to wait for elected officials to make a difference in our community. If they cannot do it, then they need to step down, and we'll take the lead and do the effort to bring those resources into our neighborhood. And that's what the South Central Farm movement has been doing here in Southern California.
And what's the current state of that land? What's actually happened? I heard you said that it's under development, but is there a structure? Is it just vacant? What's going on there? I'm not from there, so I can't see what.
So 2 years ago, the community filed a lawsuit against the city and the company who currently owns it. They're called Pima Alameda Partners LLC, and we won the lawsuit because we challenged them on the cumulative impact report. So basically, whenever there's any development, local agencies must conduct a thorough investigation on how it's going to impact the community traffic-wise, pollution-wise. So it's a very extensive research project that they take on to really assess how it's going to impact the neighborhood. And there's a big difference. This is why we won. So they only looked at 5 projects that are being projected around that area. And Caltrans, one of the local agencies here in Los Angeles, said that there's 82. So if you do a COPE study from 5 to 82 projects, your findings are going to be very different, because you're only looking at 5 when there's 82 proposed projects. So we won the lawsuit, and they were about to start construction on the property, but it was still in litigation, so they had to stop. And so the land is still vacant. Everything, all the tractors were brought into the property, but they have been removed since then, because we called them out. They're like, you cannot be doing any construction because it's still in a lawsuit. And so we were able to stop them again. And really, we're trying to put political pressure on them to sell it back to the community, like I said, because it has a historical legacy of South Central residents fighting environmental racism.
Wow. Tirena, do you want to say something?
Yes, I'm remembering everything that was happening then. Did you mention, Alberto, how the farm was taken and how it was raised?
So the farm was divided into 350 plots, and people were given opportunity to grow. So 350 families were there farming, cultivating on a daily basis, and we had a waiting list over 1,000 people. And so we successfully did a campaign to try to save it. We did the outreach. We got a lot of celebrities, from Daryl Hannah, John Quigley, Julia Butterfly Hill, Willie Nelson, Danny Glover, Alicia Silverstone, Kate del Castillo, Aaron Diaz even came to the farm. So we had a big celebrity presence as well too. And we were trying to build this movement to try to acquire the farm back in 2006. And we were able to get a foundation to support our efforts. The Annenberg Foundation pledged the money to buy the farm back in 2006. But for political reasons, it did not happen. And 45 community members got arrested on the day of eviction, which was June 13th of 2006. So we gave them a fight, basically. And then they bulldozed the farm, and they did a public destruction of the farm, and which was really tragic for our elders, our community. And it was also like psychological attack on the community, because it basically was telling them, you cannot be who you are, you cannot grow your own food, you cannot be you. And I think that still resonates to a lot of folks, because, like I said, our community suffer from a lot of injustice, and we also live in a police state. And we had like over 100 police officers and over 100 sheriffs, and for evicting people who are trying to grow their own food, which is kind of like, what kind of world are we living in when you're evicting people who are growing their own food? And it was a very sad and very tragic, but like I said, our community really built a movement to really bring consciousness, and we planted those seeds, right? Those seeds of consciousness, where people are becoming more aware of where the food comes from, how can they grow food in their neighborhoods or in their household. So we've been able to inspire a movement here in Southern California and throughout Los Angeles because of the work that we've been doing here in South Central Los Angeles.
It's beautiful to see the aerial shoots of the farm. It's a very gray neighborhood, and the South Central farm was this green oasis that was bulldozed. It was horrible. So I'm so excited that this la lucha continúa, that the struggle is still on, and the community is still standing up for the rights. And what you were saying before is so true. What happened at the farm was such an example of how the community, how we can be autonomous and not depend on the supermarkets and the governments and just rule ourselves. And that's, to me, was the great threat. It was a threat to the system, and an example for other farms that or other projects that would try to create autonomy for the people, to be told, if you do that, we will punish you.
Exactly. Don't even try to go independent. Alberto, I see that you're definitely very knowledgeable and very involved with this situation, with this fight, if I can say that. But let's say, again, from the most ignorant point of view, let's say I'm the owner of that land. I heard you said it was called PEMA LLC. Let's say it's my land, and I don't want to give it to you because it's mine, and I just don't care about people feeding themselves. Is there a way that in some, in some fashion, this could be done, the farm could be rebuilt, and it could be operational again, and that group of people that owns that land could also have a personal benefit if they are like, yes, I'm super selfish and I don't want anybody using my land? Is there a way, one of the projects that you mentioned, or one of the options that could also benefit that person or that group of people that owns the land?
Yes. So this company is trying to establish their LA Made brand, which is, we're not against their project. We're just not in support of the project on that property for its historical legacy to the community. And also now the conversation is shifting in terms of climate justice, right? So everybody's waking up, like everybody, if you really pay attention, a lot of social media outlets, a lot of bloggers, a lot of people are talking about climate justice. What are we doing to really address the issue? And I think that this company could be a leading example. They could leave their legacy here in Southern California by being heroes and giving the community an opportunity to buy the land back. We're not asking it for free. We are willing to raise the money to purchase the property. And we're not even asking the city of Los Angeles to buy it for us. We're saying, give us an opportunity to create this project that could be used as a model that could be replicated across the nation. And right here in the United States, there's a big movement of the Green New Deal. Like, we really need to transform our industries that it's all interconnected, our transportation, the way electricity. So everything is, our next generation of leaders are really tapping into those information, and they're become knowledgeable about what's really affecting our planet. And like I said, we want to live a better planet for the next generation, right? So it's our goal and obligations to really stand for our morals of what we really stand for. And this company, like I said, we have a lot of celebrities who will be down to throw benefit concerts. We have a lot of organizations who have been backing down the work of our community. So like I said, we're not even asking for it for free. We're saying, give us an opportunity to pay you fair market value for the property. And so we could do this project on this piece of land, which is the largest undeveloped piece of land in the whole city of Los Angeles. 14 acres of undeveloped land is pretty much unheard of in the city nowadays.
Wow.
I have a question that's coming up. I know that you went to UCLA, you graduated with, I can't remember your degree, but how has this activism and this passion of food justice and fair urban land use, how has that affected you personally in your endeavors and in your profession, what you're doing now?
I've been very blessed to meet amazing, wonderful people just like you, Sirena, and other many folks that have crossed my path. And I think it's that we're attracting this kind of energy because, like I said, we are like-minded individuals who have the same values, and it has this movement has really opened a lot of doors for me, to go speak on different universities about this specific issue and the work that we've been doing for the past 2 decades already. So it's been a life work, right? But I think that I'm just trying to do my part, and I want to see other youth from my neighborhood have the same opportunity that I did when I was growing up in the South Central Farm. And a lot of the families here are low income. We don't have access to green space, or even go camping or anything. Like the South Central Farm was like the wildlife. We had wildlife at the South Central Farm. We had owls, hogs, lizards. So we had all this wildlife that kids really engaged. So I just remember having those fond memories of the kids chasing chickens, and I mean having that space that was affordable and accessible to them. And like I said, most families don't have the money to take vacations to go to camping or all these state parks. And I think that what we had could potentially happen again. So we just need that opportunity to really do this project for the neighborhood. And it also has inspired me to pursue a graduate degree. I'm still thinking about it, because education right now is still crazy expensive here in the United States. You invest so much, and the wages are not part to the living standards, right? So, but I'm really considering going back to school for an urban planning degree, because I think it's time that we have people of color who have been living in these neighborhoods be part of those conversations and those circles that make those decisions. Urban planners decide how many grocery stores, how many hospitals, how many resources are allocated to our neighborhoods. And mostly those folks who decide those issues and those topics don't live in our neighborhood, so they don't know what we're dealing with, right? So I know, because I live in the neighborhood, I know how many grocery stores are here. I know we don't have a lot of parks. So I would think I would be a best candidate to really start creating that change that's necessary change that is needed in our neighborhood. And we need to really get our youth to be part in urban planning, because it's such an important role within city agencies that that there's not enough of us out there to really represent and voice what the community wants.
Oh. That's true. And there were several doctoral students at the UCLA Urban Planning Department at the time of the fight for the farm who became very involved, correct?
Yes. Our plight has been documented through several academic circles. A lot of people have gotten their masters, their PhD, writing about the South Central Farm and what the South Central Farm meant to the community, and what has it done to create a global movement of really redefining land usage, which is really important, right? Because like I said, sin tierra no hay vida, right? We need the land to grow, and everything comes from Mother Earth. So we just got to be more conscious and really have spaces that are for the community and are going to benefit the community for future generations and for the long run in general. But when everything's getting privatized, water is getting privatized, land is getting privatized, then who is going to have access to these things? Do you have to be rich to have green space? Do you have to be rich to have access to clean water? Like, why can't we have those things? It should be a basic human right.
It should. What's the next step, Alberto? What's the next plan, and how do you see the future of this project?
I'm very confident that we are achieving a bigger movement, and I know that I've gotten a lot of messages. I run the social media for our organization, and just the solidarity that I've been getting, and the power of social media to me has been amazing. When we were organizing for the farm, we only had text messages, and that was just like a new thing, right? Now we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have Snapchat. So we have a wider platform. I've been connecting to folks across the world and across the states who are dealing with the same issues. And they're like, we support you guys because we are also experiencing the same issues in our neighborhood. So it's like we're all connecting. So I've been able to connect with folks across the states and across the world who are facing the same injustice. But like I said, right at the moment, we are launching a campaign to really get the city to really reshift their stand on this project and really support the community who has been advocating for this project for more than 13 years already. And we have a petition circulating online that's available on our website. If you guys go to www.southcentralfarm.org, There's a link right there to our petition. Please sign it because, like I said, this project could benefit everybody, and it could be a model that could be replicated across the world.
Oh. Alberto, let me ask you something because we are about to wrap up, and if you meet someone, you're in another city, let's say you're in Boston, you're in New York, and you meet someone that has never heard of this, like me, for example, and you had 5 minutes to tell them about what you're doing and to tell us how can we help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to go visit our website, follow our social media platforms, South Central Farm on Instagram, South Central Farms on Facebook, and really let's build the movement because you never know who. Every time I meet new people, my mentality is you never know who you're gonna meet. You know, you could meet a social media influencer who might talk about you, and then you get all these followings. So I just want to connect everybody, so everybody has, and this should be an issue that should be important to everybody because we need to find out where our food comes from, and we need to also start challenging how city develops land usage. Why cannot it be mixed? You know, urban farming, food, organic food, clean water, clean air. Why can we not have those things, right? You could live in an underserved community and still have those things, and it's a human right. And I think that everybody should be on board with it. And we are leading the Green New Deal movement here in Southern California because let's start with the South Central Farm, restoring the South Central Farm because it's necessary for our communities and it's necessary for our community to get that justice that it was taken away so long ago. And we need that justice for our community, and it's time that we do it.
And how does that affect me? If you guys accomplish your project, how is that going to affect the world I live in?
It's going to affect it because we're creating a movement. If you see what we've created here in Southern California and how we are redefining land usage, why can't you have it in New York? Why can't we have it in Spain? Why can't we have it in, Africa or Mexico or Southern America? Like I said, land access is very important globally. Everything's getting privatized. So I think it's creating a movement, and we have inspired other folks to start community gardens in other cities. So we have been an inspiration to other folks to create and be part of the conversation and be part of the, changing the way we really think about land usage. So we're planting those seeds, right? So more seeds grow up, and then we create this network, and all of us share resources, information, because, why reinvent the wheel when you already done it? So our goal is to really get that information out there so folks could start their own community projects in their neighborhoods, or how to go about it, because there's different things that we learn doing this kind of work and how might actually get more momentum and actually get people to invest in these kind of projects that are really fundamental for our neighborhood.
You are the future, or at least the future I dream of. Dr. Sirena, do you want to add something before we wrap this up?
I look at Alberto like a son, and I'm so proud of you, son. I'm so proud of the work that you have done with so many other people, but you have been really a beacon of light with your passion and your commitment. Thank you so much, because you are really the future. What we're seeing right now is a world that's falling apart, and you are part of those many people who are the pockets of what's going to become a critical mass in a very short time. So thank you so much for the work you do.
Thank you, Sirena. Oh.
So once again, Alberto, before we leave, where can our audience find you?
If they go to our website, www.southcentralfarm.org, you could find all the information there on how to support. And also we have all of our social media handlers there. So you could just click the link and start following us.
Dr. Sirena, where can our audience find you?
At www.sirenapellarolo.com. That's SIRENAPELLAROLO.com.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for allowing Mindalia being a channel for your words, for your ideas. We are truly blessed that we have the chance of talking with people like you and that we get to send the message out there to our audience. Again, thank you for being with us, for being that eye behind the screen. We really appreciate you guys leaving us a like and to subscribe not only to this network but also to Mindalia Televisión and Mindalia Televisao. Follow us on our different platforms and channels, and we are sending you a very, very big hug. And until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.